Hello, how's it going? This is another week of quarantine. This is Gene. Unfortunately, Diego couldn't make it this week. He sends his regards, but I have with me on our another episode of the Waffle Press our good friend of the show, Joshua Shelton.
Hey, what's up?
Hey,
Good to be
man. This is first time you've been on the show, so that's pretty cool. I've known you for we've worked together like 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah, I mean, we used to work together pretty often, I feel like.
Yeah, it was like every short film we were on.
Yeah.
Our friend Robbie Stivlin used to make them. I used to do a lot of like ones in the summer. And then you'd help me on my short films. You were the DP on. I made this like short film was called The Only Room Left, and you were the DP on the reshoots.
Was that whose movie was that we had to do like a fight scene in the backyard or something like that?
Oh, in the backyard.
It was like a party and there was a fight scene. I can't remember if it was your movie or not. I
I
just always think about that
I think
episode.
that might have been Kyle Thor's.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, because he DP'd the his thesis film, and
Yeah, that's right.
there's a big like drunken brawl. It was a good film. It was called Detox.
Yeah, I liked it.
Yeah, get my credit. But yeah, man, it's always great to talk to you. I love your opinions, your takes on stuff. You're just trashing the Mandalorian. Felt very,
Yeah,
felt very, felt very cathartic because I had to review that for like 2 months.
yeah.
Yeah, and at the end it got really soul crushing because it's just hard to be positive sometimes on that show. Except towards, I really enjoyed the end, but that's just me because I was a little.
I have to admit, I stopped watching after I think it was 6 episodes in because I had to. The only reason I watched it is because I had to do an episode on it for the show,
Okay.
and that turned out to be like one of the most unpopular episodes. Like people hated me hating on the
Oh
Mandalorian.
man, they're very protective of that show. It's it just feels like nostalgia, but then if you talk about like Rise of Skywalker, everyone will just like fucking join you in curb stomping it. You know,
Mm.
it's just yeah, it's weird. Everyone's very protective of that show. So
It's very cultish.
yeah.
It's very cultish. I just, what's his name? John Favreau,
Hmm.
who wrote this like most of the series.
Yeah.
Man, he's such a talented writer,
Hmm.
and like you can tell he phoned it in. Like anybody that has any writing experience that has taken so much as just an online screenwriting class, like every mistake, it feels like a first year student's first draft script.
Wow.
It's just it's so awful, and then it just it doesn't make any sense. It doesn't make any sense like on any level. But again, I only watched the sixth episode or so, so maybe it got better. I don't know.
Yeah, the last two. I was gonna say it's not to say Favreau isn't talented because he did wrote like Swingers.
Yeah, exactly. Like he's a
That are,
talented writer. He's a really good writer. So
Mhm.
there's only one answer here. He phoned it in. He totally phoned it in for the check.
Yeah. Well, hey, we'll see if you watch the second season if like he's trying because he's like directing now, but we'll see.
Oh, maybe he's more invested.
Maybe. But Yash, what can you tell us about yourself? Just what you do, what you work for. Yeah.
Uh, so right now I'm the lead writer for the Infographics Show on YouTube. I always explain it as like it's one of those kind of popcorn facts show. You sit down for a lunch break, watch like a 10-minute video on what if Hitler had won World War II, and it's just like fun stuff like that. I think we're at 9 million subs right now. I don't know. We've grown pretty big in the
Yeah.
last like year and a half. We've had like pretty big growth, so that's great. Um, Before that, I was much more involved with like the regular industry. I was pitching a project over at Disney that got along pretty far,
Mhm.
but then I had to take a sabbatical from the whole thing for personal reasons. So I kind
Yeah.
of transitioned from, I guess, the regular industry to kind of online
Yeah.
YouTube, which has been interesting, really interesting. It's such a different beast. They really need to be teaching how to write for YouTube in film schools.
Yeah, because I feel like YouTube's just this like undiscovered country of just opportunity right now. I mean, we're on
Totally.
YouTube, yeah, and it's really interesting just seeing like what like sells and then like what's popular and like what just like won't move in terms of videos
Yeah,
because
it's a whole science.
yeah, it's so weird, convoluted. But are you allowed to talk about the Disney thing? Because I was just gonna compliment that.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like there's not much to say, but yeah, never signed like an NDA or anything.
Oh, okay. Because yeah, Golem, you sent me the one sheet. It was I thought that was like a really good premise and good pitch, man.
Thanks, I appreciate it.
Yeah. Probably yeah. I don't can't. Yeah, we don't want to put that out there, but yeah, Golem. Yeah, if that ever happens, yeah, that'd be awesome.
There was, it's ironic because you and I were just talking off the air, or whatever, about 2020 being the worst year ever.
Yeah.
Um, right before like the pandemic hit, my best friend, who's the one who actually set up the whole pitch over at Disney and stuff, she messaged me and she was like, "Oh hey, I forget the guy's name. He's the president of music over there. Who's the guy that I pitched to? He was asking my friend about the project. Are you still like thinking about it? He's clearly still interested." And it's like, wow, I haven't talked to this guy in like 3 years. So you remembered. You must be really interested in it.
Yeah.
So that was like in the air, and then the pandemic hit, and like
Oh,
everything just shut down. So
yeah. It was like fucking it was like a fucking like a more realistic, if you could call it, like a Roland Emmerich film, where like a fucking catac like a cataclysm of shit just like happens like over a
yeah,
day or something. Like
yeah,
Independence Day is like what, like 3 days?
yeah. I think it's like a 3 day apocalypse.
Yeah, because I mean, it was happening all over the world. COVID-19 was spreading, but I don't know. I guess where some people in the United States felt a little like some hubris because they're like, it's not going to come here, and then you start hearing reports like, oh, offices, we're gonna have like a cleaner. We're gonna maybe have some people working home, and by the end of like the week, it was like everyone's working from home. Everything shut down.
Yeah, it's funny you say that about like Americans having a bit of hubris about it, because I've been thinking the same thing, and geography has like sheltered Americans
Hmm.
so much. When you got two giant oceans on either side, like wars don't bother you, pandemics don't bother you, refugee crisis don't bother you. So like historically, Americans have had it pretty sweet. Two
Hmm.
world wars, never once touched American soil except for like Pearl Harbor and some islands in Alaska.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, Americans are kind of insulated from like catastrophe just because of geography, and I don't think people realize that.
Yeah, I mean, we're pretty lucky, and like our borders are like Canada, pretty chill there, and Mexico, which they don't bother anyone. We bother them.
Yeah, exactly. Two
Sad to
stable
say.
countries.
Yeah, but yeah, it felt like a fucking yeah. No one thought it was coming, even though it was just like it felt like this like Michael Myers or someone just like stalking us, like, oh, it's gonna fucking happen to you, motherfucker.
Yeah, it's coming. It's slowly coming, and then bam, it's here.
Yeah, we were like was it like that really like hot chick in the horror film that gets killed first. That's
Yeah, who doesn't even see it coming?
yeah, she's just like looking the other way.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. But no, it's good to work on YouTube right now, especially. Have you felt like people have been subscribing more, viewing more, having like longer view times, which you know some people are unemployed, some people are working from home. They have just like stuff to listen to in the background now.
Yeah, I always hate to say this because this obviously this comes up and I'm talking with friends and stuff. Like everyone's struggling for work. This whole thing has been so good to us. Like it's so messed up, but it honestly has. Like people don't have anything to do, so they sit at home. They watch YouTube. They watch the show. They sub. Um, our um, our ad rates have gone down because people aren't really buying anything.
Mhm.
But the sheer number of views have more than made up for like how much our ad rates have dropped. So I hate to say it, but like the whole quarantine, everything's been really great for the show.
Yeah, very like a silver lining, I guess.
Yeah, I mean it feels terrible when like that your friends are struggling for work.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because we've been having like some increase in a lot of numbers, like just random interviews we did on our channel with like at cons, conventions, like things that were just not moving before suddenly get
Yep.
like 10,000 views.
Yeah, that makes total sense. People are bored.
I think do you think it's like a weird sort of like connection as well, just how we interact now? Just like say if you had like a YouTuber you really enjoyed, you find yourself, well, I'm not interacting with anyone, I'm staying at home, the biggest maybe interact with like two or three people if you live with like roommates. Do you feel it's a kind of um, like making up for people that you can't see right now?
I think yeah, you're totally onto something. People are lonely. Like
Yeah.
people are really lonely. I think like one of the big reasons why TikTok's like exploded in popularity and stuff is because you can hop onto the app and just watch all these videos of all these people doing things, and it makes you feel like a little less lonely. It makes you feel a little more connected to the rest of the world.
Yeah. It's like a weird Ready Player One
Yeah,
reality. It, it kind of feels like that.
except a lot
Mhm.
lamer.
How could it have been lamer than like Ready Player One? I mean, it's like if maybe we were like obsessed with 80s like paraphernalia, just random shit from it, and
Mm.
start dressing like the 80s, I guess it could be lamer. I was at least wanting like a Tron fucking reality or virtual reality. I won't take the Matrix, but I'll take like Tron, all the 8-bit graphics.
Yeah,
Or, like Tron Legacy. I don't know if you're a fan of that.
I like I mean, I'm not like a fan of the story, but like I like the aesthetics.
Okay. Like you don't hate it like you hate like Mandalorian.
No, Mandalorian is just garbage. Like it's just poorly constructed garbage.
Yeah.
No, definitely don't hate it the same way. I don't hate Tron Legacy. I really
Okay.
don't. I enjoy it. I can watch it and enjoy it.
Yeah.
Mandalorian, I literally had to be paid to keep watching Mandalorian.
Wow. That's geez. I mean, you only yeah, it had to be paid because it's on the show, but
Yeah.
well, it's coming back, so maybe watch it again. I was just gonna say that, yeah, just going off of just kind of how isolated we feel. Yeah, I mean, I would say that's probably the main reason of TikTok. Why people enjoy that. You feel like you're hanging out with someone, you
Yeah.
feel connected. Yeah, it's just a lot of missing connections right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a lonely time.
yeah. Swear to God, if TikTok gets banned, it's like burning down the house. Like whatever the hell's going on with that.
I know there's concerns. Like there's legitimate concerns. We actually talked about that in one of our recent videos too.
Yeah.
Um, we totally predicted that it was going to move to possibly get banned.
Mm.
But there's legitimate concerns about the Chinese Communist Party's involvement with the
Right.
app.
Yeah, because they have a lot of stake in it, and I believe, if I'm not mistaken, some they do a bit of monitoring. I want to say.
Well, it's common practice for the CCP to install political officers in like really well performing companies or companies that do a lot of business overseas.
Hmm.
Um, their economy is a weapon of the CCP.
Mm.
So they use their economy aggressively to try to shape perceptions in other countries, or try to just gather intelligence in other countries. So the big concern with TikTok was that they're gathering a bunch of intel on like I'm not sure like the specifics of what it is that they're actually gathering,
Yeah.
but you'd be surprised. You can learn a lot about people by their usage of like different apps.
Yeah, I mean, look at the elections and how they're influenced by Facebook,
Yeah,
like Cambridge Analytica. But yeah, I don't know. We'll see with TikTok. At least give us back Vine.
yeah. Bring Vine back.
Vine or whatever, like Vine 2.0. But yeah, I mean, some rightful concerns here and there. But yeah, I mean, anything Trump does, it just seems just like bullshit.
Questionable. Yeah, no,
Questionable.
I totally get it. Like, it's so hard with this guy to like, for him to do something, you'd be like, oh, wait, that was actually the right thing to do. But it's not really him. It's all his advisors. It's,
Yeah.
the heads of the DOD that are advising them, like, hey, we need to do this, we need to do that. If it was him, he doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. Sorry.
Yeah. Yeah. Goddamn. But just changing gears here. And just on YouTube, you also do another show, Fuzzy and Nuts.
So I had to concentrate more on the main show since I took over for all the writers as I became the head writer.
Mhm.
But yeah, I used to do Fuzzy Nuts. I'm kind of sad because that was like my favorite thing to write. I really
Yeah,
love that show.
I enjoyed quite a few of those. Quite a few of those, just like outrageous. Like, yeah, there is a lot of like logic. Like, what would happen if you, God, what was it?
Like
Uh,
drank liquid nitrogen, or like
yeah.
the worst jobs in the war in like in history. I just liked it because like we geared that more for kids, so it
Mhm.
was more innocent, it was more pure,
Yeah.
and there wasn't like the main show. We put out a video and we have to deal with like realistic topics. Like we did one on can China invade Taiwan, and we discussed that realistically. And in the comments section, it's just a shit storm.
Oh, wow.
But then you go to Fuzzy and Nuts, and like it's like pure, it's
Mhm.
like a breath of fresh air.
And did you find with Fuzzy and Nuts when they had the YouTube restriction for like kids, like this is, like under 18 or over 18? Did you? I'm not sure if you were still with the channel, but did you find that a little stifling?
By then, I already moved to the main show primarily. I was always doing the main show. By then, I had to move to like doing it primarily. But it didn't really affect either of the shows really. Like everyone expected it was going to be terrible. One of my friends was like, "Oh, you're going to be out of a job." Like as always, it was hype. It
Yeah.
was totally not a big deal.
Yeah, and it's just basically like a parental control, which don't know if those work sometimes.
Hmm.
And yeah, I think it also disactivates the comments as well for yeah some
Right.
yeah. So no, I mean yeah, I don't think it does too much to kind of the YouTube algorithm, but yeah, it's certainly something. Have you found yeah, how have you found just like YouTube just talk about like the mechanics of it where algorithms control our viewerships, or even just as a subscriber on my own like personal YouTube, like why am I listen to like a speech from like Noah Chomsky,
Hmm.
then I get like recommended like Joe Rogan, like dismantles like just like something fucking dumb, like he dismantles like the like establishment or something, and it's like it's just fucking Joe Rogan like high as fuck talking, and
Yeah.
you get like such extremes, you get like you could maybe watch like one Joe Rogan, and then you get like Ben Shapiro, and he's just like just wailing for an hour straight at the
Yeah.
screen, and singing the lyrics of a rap video that he doesn't like. God, that was so cringe. It's like the cringiest thing I've ever seen.
I know, it's gold. It's so good.
Yeah. Um, but yeah, anything you what can you say about that, man?
Um, our producer deals more with like the algorithm and stuff. I'll admit, like I'm almost exclusively on the creator side, and that's how I prefer it because like it just makes my brain hurt even just figuring out the audience already.
Hmm.
But I know that like it's based off like what you watch and then what people who also watch that video what they watch. Um, so you got a bunch of people who watch Joe Rogan who watch the video that you watched. YouTube's gonna figure, hey, maybe you like Joe Rogan too.
Yeah.
But yeah, I definitely don't understand the technical side as well, and I have purposely distanced myself. I deal mostly with like the creative side because even just figuring out the audience is its own
Yeah,
challenge.
it's like a art in itself.
Yeah, it's frustrating to say the least.
Yeah. So yeah, I guess that's just kind of our philosophy too. Just put out good content and hope for the best. You know, I mean, just try not to put out like cringe. You know,
Yeah,
that's all. That's all I try to strive for. Like something you
yeah.
like regret or just banking off of like doing like Gingham style remix or something.
I mean, cringe works, but your whole channel better be about cringe.
Yeah, that's kind of like choose like a niche topic or center it around that.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's just fascinating to think about. But we're kind of seeing we're in this like weird age right now where it feels like Hollywood is it's like yeah, Hollywood influences like YouTube and then that like forces it back where you get like influences of like YouTube and all the sort of personalities back towards like the movie making machine. Like I'm not sure if the infamous app, if you watched any shows on that, Quibi.
No.
Oh God, it's I'm gonna say just a quick spiel on Quibi where they're like, oh, people love watching YouTube videos. Let's do like a whole fucking network on just like 8 minute, short attention span videos.
Hmm.
And I believe it was like God, like something like 400 million went into producing that. There was a Variety report. This was founded by Jeff Katzenberg from DreamWorks.
Uh-huh.
He was a big promoter of Quibi, and he put a lot of money. They had two fucking lobbies for people to wait for. It was like God, it was like something like out of like a Dungeons and Dragons, where it's like you're gonna wait in this like lobby. You're gonna talk to this receptionist. If you get like the golden key, you can make it to the second lobby, and you'll wait there. And after you like do some challenge, you could meet with Mr. Katzenberg. I don't know if that's like a weird power play, but like he spent fucking money on two fucking lobbies.
Wow. Yeah, it sounds like a total power move.
Yeah, it's just, and then too, like, what the fuck? I don't even know. But yeah, do you have any thoughts on Quibi? Because it's just fucking fascinating. I feel.
I I feel like what maybe Hollywood's not realizing is that there's two media markets right now. There's the quote unquote YouTube market, which is the online stuff, TikTok, YouTube itself, Vine 2.0 if it ever comes back.
Oh,
Um, and then there's the traditional media market, the Hollywood stuff. And I think it's a really terrible idea to try to overlap the two in such an obvious way.
yeah,
Um, people people still want to watch their 30-minute, TV episodes or 30, 60-minute episodics. They still want to watch their hour and a half, 2 hour long movies. They don't want you to distill that down to an 8, 10 minute format. Like, it just doesn't fundamentally work. People don't crave that. And trying to do so, I feel like it's a mistake.
yeah,
Let YouTube people fill that niche.
hmm,
Back them if you want to. You know. But don't try to like bring in your slick Hollywood like you know empire and try to do these 8, 10 minute shows which don't really fulfill anything.
yeah. Yeah, it almost feels like a reverse engineer of like some technology, and it's like it worked because it worked because it worked. It was like its own like lightning in the bottle. It can't be like replicated. I mean, sure, you can make a new Coke, but who the fuck wants new Coke?
Yeah. It also kind of feels like, the old guys trying to be cool to the teenagers. Like,
Yeah,
that's what it kind of makes me think of. Like, hey, fellow younglings.
yeah. Hey, kids. I mean, it was some weird because I watched a few at a trial. I'm like, what is this? There was like kind of a good Sam Raimi thing. He did like a horror miniseries with the chick with a golden arm. There was like a show with Anna Kendrick, with a fucking inflatable doll, like a sex doll that talks to her. And God, what the fuck? There was just like weird vanity projects on there. So, they gave like, someone like Spike Jones or someone like, hey, do a series. Like, here's $10 million. Um, and that's like fundamentally just not YouTube or that sort of content where these are these are things people make on their own time, their own sort of like nuts and bolts and grit, and
Yeah.
they make it with like ingenuity. It's not a Hollywood system. It can't be reverse engineered. It's its own sort of entity. And
I think it's even too that, like, trying to do it in that much, much smaller format, like, it just has its own writing problems.
yeah.
Um, I mean, you helped me shoot my pilot,
Oh yeah,
my
yeah.
TV pilot.
Hmm.
That was supposed to be 10 minutes, and it ended up being a regular 25-minute show because it was impossible to write in a 10-minute format and really satisfy that TV feel. You could totally do a webisode, but webisodes are by their nature a bit kind of superficial. You know,
Yeah,
you never really get that emotionally invested in it.
yeah. Yeah, it's just it's kind of like a flickering sort of interest almost.
Yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's the best I can describe it. But yeah, I guess it's kind of just built into like a certain sort of audience. It can't. It's just hard to do that, right?
yeah. I mean, audiences always have their own preferences, their own tastes, and we're kind of pre-programmed to, like, we want these longer episodic formats for stories like that. Don't try to, like, distill them down into a YouTube experience.
Yeah. Do you feel like any? Do you feel like it's any factor of age as well?
Possibly. I mean, I feel like with something like Quibbly or Quibi, I forget, it's Quibi, right?
Would be, yeah,
Yeah, that's clearly targeted at, like, younger people,
yeah,
but I'm not sure if they really understood, like, the YouTube young people. You
yeah.
know, um, I mean, we're in the top 100 most influential channels on YouTube,
Hmm.
based off, like, click throughs and, like, people that come into the to our channel and go out of our channel, not like influential as like personalities or whatever.
Yeah.
Uh, so I feel justified in saying we're pretty successful on YouTube, but we still, like, barely understand our audience. Like, we have
Yeah.
so many hits and misses.
Yeah, I mean, there's nothing like a TV demographic or some like
Yeah, you
Nielsen
can
ratings.
totally predict, like, when you write for TV, you can totally predict the audience. It's so funny because it's the same viewers, really.
Hmm.
The same people are watching TV that they're watching YouTube. So you can totally predict what, like, a TV audience wants to watch. But then you move the whole thing to YouTube, and it's like it's the Wild West.
Yeah,
Everyone's shooting off their guns. You have no idea what the hell's going on. Like,
it's like,
I've been doing this for 2.5 years now, I think, and I
mhm.
still barely understand the audience.
Jeez. Yeah, it's wild. I mean, yeah, it literally is like the Wild West. Cause yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to figure shit out, trying to have my own like homestead
Yeah,
on the prairie.
yeah,
Yeah, but yeah, man, I mean, like they're the same viewers. it's a different sort of format, and sometimes formats should be formats and looked as just simply one format.
Yep.
Like I'm not sure if you remember like when people were trying to say like the Irishman was a miniseries, you could watch it as a miniseries. This is where you have an act break, or this is where the second episode starts. But really, if you watch that movie, I mean, it's like 3.5 hours long, but it's supposed to be viewed as just a fucking movie. I mean,
Right.
you could go back and like start watching again, but it's not a mini series. It's a movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I don't even know if Martin Scorsese would ever even do like a mini series. So yeah, I mean, yeah, just kind of figure it out as a format instead of like rebranding a TV show as a YouTube channel or mini series. I think is a good rule of thumb.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Like, know your lane.
Yeah, pretty much. I was going to ask, can you talk a little bit about some of the research that goes into some of the videos?
Yeah. Um, it's probably like I always tell our writers, our new writers when they first come in, research like the most important thing that you can do. Like you're on a platform where you are instantly fact checked. Um,
Yeah.
it's unlike any other media platform that's ever existed. Even newspapers don't come close because newspapers get to print and send their stuff out, and if there's anything wrong, a few days later it'll come back.
Right.
With this, like the moment your video is live, right there in the comments section, and everybody that watches your video has access to those critiques. So like, um, I always tell the writers like research is the most important thing that you can do. We uh, we try to kind of assign topics based off like writers' already existing interests and what they're already into,
Hmm.
um, because in that way they already kind of know what they're talking about. Um,
Yeah.
I follow a lot of like defense journals, a lot of defense think tanks. I follow a lot of like foreign policy, science and technology and stuff. So all that stuff, I'm already kind of up to date on. So it's really easy for me to like write on that and be accurate. But we make mistakes. One of the things we don't do, unlike a lot of channels, is we don't really limit like comments. And if somebody like calls us out in the comments, like you got this wrong, you got that wrong, it depends. If they're nitpicking, you're always gonna have that. You know,
Yeah.
you're always gonna have the nitpickers.
Right.
You can't please everybody. Um, and if it's minor, it's not even worth addressing.
Yeah.
But if it's something major, like we legitimately like messed up something big, we'll admit it. We might not take the video down and do a complete re-edit because that would, cost money. It's not worth it. But we'll put like in the little note, like under the video title, like, hey, we messed this up, or we'll pin a comment like, oh, we messed this up.
Yeah. It's like a retraction.
Yeah, and you got to do that. You got to be honest with the audience. You really do.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
But yeah, when you're on YouTube, if you're making a show that's anywhere even remotely fact based, you really got to make sure like CYA, cover your ass.
Yeah.
Um, then there's other types of episodes we do where more like discussions rather than sort of like we're informing you about facts. Like we did an episode on how could Hitler have won World War II or something like that. Um, and we talked, about hypotheticals, and we base the hypotheticals on the facts of what happened, and then we extrapolate from there.
Hmm.
And inevitably, because YouTube's YouTube and everyone's a monster, you'll get a bunch of comments in there, saying you're an idiot. No, it would have happened like this. It would have happened like that. It's like, dude, you're speculating as much as I am. Only I guarantee you, we're more informed because it's our job to be informed.
Yeah. Yeah. You having like actual fact checking. You're not just some random commenter.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like it's our job to learn the material and like stay informed on it.
Yeah.
But if you're a fan of politics or you follow politics, then you're already well aware of how convinced people can be of their own ignorance.
Yeah, yeah, unfortunately. That's just the nature of the beast of like social media.
Yep, everyone's got a voice.
Yeah. How do you see just wrapping up here, how do you see YouTube evolving in the next couple of years or fucking decades almost?
I think honestly, the internet's gonna end up replacing TV almost completely. I I haven't had a cable subscription in I think like over 10 years, actually.
Oh,
Um, it's easier than ever. I can get YouTube, on my actual TV, not just my computer. I can get Hulu, whatever. Um, I think like regular TV is on its way out because why sit there and watch something on TV where you got to deal with like commercial breaks? Well, I guess you can't pause live TV now, but
yeah.
it's just so inconvenient. Nobody wants to watch commercial breaks anymore.
Yeah.
You can just watch the same show like online.
Hmm.
Um,
With like a 90-second ad at most.
yeah, exactly. I think YouTube and the internet's going to end up replacing TV a lot faster than most people think.
Yeah.
And we're in this funny place where like YouTube creators are drawing as much or even more views than what TV channels are getting.
Hmm.
Um, I know for a fact we get more views than CNN. Like we get more views per month. We get like a little over 100 million views per month. Um, we get more eyes on our content than some TV channels get. And yet our ad rates are like a fraction of what a TV ad rate is,
Wow.
which is all kinds of backwards.
Yeah.
But I feel that pendulum swinging, especially like this pandemic is really helping shift that pendulum because YouTube creators are having a heyday while TV productions can't get crews together.
Yeah. Yeah. Sadly. I mean, yeah, they're trying to keep people safe, but it's difficult. It's difficult to film right now, and it's yeah, especially just working. I've heard so many horror stories just being a PA, shit like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, I think the content, like, you'll have like you'll have like the content, but it'll like physically move to the internet. I could, see that through streaming and all those different aspects of just what the online viewership is right now.
Yeah. I think even like the TV shows that you tune in to watch TV for, even that's getting easier and easier for people to actually make outside of the studio system.
Yeah.
And if you're making something outside of the studio system, you're going to go to YouTube, you're going to go to Vimeo. You can bypass all those barriers and get eyes on whatever you're making by just going directly online. I mean, cameras are no longer like a barrier of entry.
Mhm.
A good DSLR and some lenses is only going to cost you like $1,000 some.
Yeah. Or an iPhone.
Equipment's so cheap now. Yeah, or even you could totally use an iPhone now and get that DSLR quality.
Yeah.
Um, I mean, studios are really left making superhero movies until the special effects programs become even cheaper and more realistic and more available to people, and then people will make their own superhero movies.
Yeah. We'll have like the most obscure characters, Howard the Duck will eventually get his own like
Yeah,
franchise.
someone online will make the Howard the Duck movie we all deserve.
Yeah, instead of that fucking 80s movie.
The 100% less creepy
Oh,
bedroom scene.
yeah. That's I don't know how that got that past anyone who thought of that.
Yeah, that.
Fucking Lucas, probably George Lucas thought of that. I don't know.
I feel like someone with a fetish came up with that scene and like
Oh
was
god.
hoping people just wouldn't like call it out or anything.
Yeah, if anyone hasn't seen that, they go to quite a few places with the romance between Howard and Beverly, which let's leave that unsaid for right now. But
It's
well,
quite uncomfortable.
yeah. What about weird movie? But yeah, I don't know. Well, maybe we can make our own superhero films. Yeah, take that money. But yeah, it's evolving. It's constantly like you could predict one way the app is going, and it'll go 10 different directions. So I guess let's just keep our eyes peeled on it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just wrapping up here, what where can people follow you at? What social media you would want to promote, Josh?
Uh, oh God, don't follow me. Just go subscribe to the show, the Infographics Show on YouTube. We have a spin-off, the Military Channel. Um, check out Fuzzy and Nuts. Unfortunately, that's no longer in my wheelhouse, but still a fun show.
Yeah. Cool. We'll put links below to each of those channels, and guys, be sure to check it out. Thanks for joining us, Josh. I really appreciate your time and just giving your expertise and like your just knowledge on all these different topics, man. It's really appreciated.
Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah,
I hope
and
people do it.
oh yeah, no, I think they will. And you could follow us on. You could follow me. Excuse me. Got to promote myself. G9892 on Twitter and Instagram. You could follow the Waffle Press on Twitter at the Waffle Press, on Instagram at the Waffle Press Podcast. We're on iTunes, Spotify, YouTube, and SoundCloud. Please like, share, subscribe. Tell your friends. Thanks for listening. Thanks for watching. We've been professionally unprofessional.